UFC Fight Night Tuivasa versus Tybura. We got a good one here for you guys, so let's get straight into it. First off, we have Angeliga versus Gregorio. This one is a tee-up for Gregorio. He beat Cameron Smotherman, a guy that everybody expected to dominate that fight in the Contender Series, and he managed to get a knockout inside the first round. UFC is definitely teeing him up to get another one. Give me Gregorio. Wasting no time, let's go on to the second fight. Thiago Moises versus Mitch Ramirez. Mitch Ramirez stepping in on short notice. The only thing benefiting him in his career is stepping in on short notice because the UFC loves that and they'll reward him in the next fight. But this one is going to the UFC vet, Thiago Moises. Next up, we have Corey McKenna versus Jacqueline Amorim. This one is tough. Corey McKenna is a very tough girl and Jacqueline Amorim is a jiu-jitsu player, but she's not that great when it comes to takedowns. She can get sweeps. She can reverse position and get on top. I don't know. She somehow finds a way to win a lot of the time. Against Sam Hughes, she didn't look too great. But against Montserrat, she looked really good. Corey McKenna, her loss against Illustrate, that kind of haunts me. I'm leaning more towards Jacqueline Amorim because I don't see Corey McKenna being able to overcome the reach disadvantage, which is 10 inches, which is a lot of reach, and she's not going to be better off the ground. So yeah, I see Jacqueline Amorim winning. There's a lot of value in Jacqueline Amorim winning by decision because I don't see her submitting or finishing McKenna in any way, shape, or form. Next up is Josh Culibao versus Danny Silva. And the money is in the underdog for this one. Danny Silva to get it done is how I see it going. Next up is O'Day Osborne versus Jafael Filo. And believe it or not, I'm going Jafael Filo by submission. His fight against Makayev made it very, very impressive. In my opinion, O'Day Osborne seems to struggle against jiu-jitsu players. His way to victory is definitely going to be the striking. I don't think he puts away Filo. I think Filo manages to survive the early onslaught and then convert it into a favorable position for him and get the finish. I'm gonna walk past a couple fights. We're going into the Jared Mershard versus Brian Barberina. And Brian Barberina is gonna get beat in this fight. Question is whether he's gonna be tough enough and durable enough to avoid a finish from Jared Mershard. Mershard's way to victory is gonna be submission. He can be dominant in positions and potentially win by decision. I don't really see him getting a knockout, even though his stand-up looked fairly decent in his past couple of fights. I got him winning by decision. Skipping over our next one, and we're going straight into Christian Rodriguez versus Isaac Dolgarian. And this one, listen, Rodriguez is famous for crushing bets and destroying parlays, also for missing weight. Don't be surprised if he misses weight up a weight class. Yep, he's moving up a weight class against Dolgarian. I see it as somewhat of a punishment for derailing both Cameron Simon and Raul Rosas Jr.'s hype train. Against Dolgarian, Dolgarian has a tendency of finishing fights in the first round, very brutally finishing Francis Marshall in his last fight, his debut fight. I see it going no differently. I see him taking down Christian Rodriguez and getting the finish. Whether he does it in the first round, second, or third, it's all up in the air depending on Rodriguez's durability in this new weight class. But Dolgarian gets it done for me. Next up is Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Ovin St. Preux. And Ovin St. Preux is not the same fighter that he used to be. The one that challenged John Jones and went to decision with John Jones, even though John Jones wasn't John Jones. Moving on. But Kennedy Nzechukwu, he should get this one done inside the distance. Knockout. I'm saying first round. St. Preux's chin is no longer there, so yeah. Nzechukwu to get it done. Next up is Brian Battle versus Ange Loosa. Ange Loosa did not impress me in his last fight against Rice McKee. You know, he was getting peppered in the final round. And he won on the scorecards. He only loses by decision, but Brian Battle is a warrior. He's a finisher. He's got KO power, and he has submission ability. I see him getting the finish in this fight. The value is on the submission because he can take you down and sink in a choke. A lot of people are going to say decision. If you're so worried, just bet the money line on Brian Battle. And next up is the main event of the evening. Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. And Marcin Tybura, he's not been looking too good, getting finished left and right. Tai Tuivasa coming off a loss against Alexander Volkov. You know, he's always got the power to put people out. And against a guy like Volkov, it was a terrible matchup for him. Tybura, he's a guy that likes to test out the striking. He's not going to be wearing too much on Tuivasa, and I see Tuivasa getting it done. He's more than likely going to get it done early. If the later the fight goes, Tybura, it's going to be more favorable for him. But I see Tai Tuivasa getting it done early and drinking a shoey. And this has been my UFC picks and analysis for UFC Fight Night Tuivasa versus Tybura. If you like it, leave a like. Comment what you think about the fights down below. Comment what you think about the video down below. Subscribe, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, game time!